All right, welcome everyone to episode one, the first and perhaps the last of the I Can't Believe They Gave Us a Show with Nick and Jim. He's Nick Magato.
Hello, he's Jim Bernica.
Hello as well. And our special guest today is the managing editor of Firefighter Nation, Stephanie White.
I just want to
Welcome.
know, is this special because I'm Stephanie White, or is this special because I'm Stephanie White?
Both, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Good
kind of
answer,
both.
Nick.
Kind of
Good
both,
answer,
really.
Nick.
Yeah. He's here to keep me in line. That's his job.
That's right.
Yes. So,
Well,
we thought it would be kind of cool to have you as the first guest because you really gave us this opportunity. And we know that you're doing this new launch of Firefighter Nation, and just kind of wanted to know more about you, about this role, and about just what Firefighter Nation is. And you could probably even talk about what it used to be, but
Hmm.
where you're going with things now.
okay. Well, actually, to answer that question, I'm going to tell you about my day yesterday.
Okay.
So, my day yesterday, it was the first day of our tour. It was our Proby's first day with all of us, and in the beginning of her first tour. Standard day on the engine. Second call of the day, we get called to do a washdown, particularly gruesome hit and run scene. And I have actually never seen one that bad. And we ended up brain matter all in our boots and it's just body everywhere on the road. So that's poor Proby's second call ever. So realized we're probably gonna have to move up some conversations with this poor woman, that we might have had later in the tour about mental health and resiliency. So having that conversation, running a lot of calls, maybe the sixth or seventh call of the day, two guys racing down Route 1. This guy wraps his car around a tree, young 20-something-year-old. Prolonged extrication because of where the tree was and patient access. Just a mess. Lower body completely crushed, head all bruised up, turning purple. So get him in the back of the unit. Take her with us. So again, first day, pretty gruesome injuries. I was actually very impressed. Probably another five calls later, two pediatrics playing with a firearm. One gets shot in the head, still conscious on scene. Transport units a while out. Bloodbath. Figure it out. So this Proby's first day was quite interesting, along with running. I think we ran 18 yesterday. And throughout the day, we had only a couple moments that we were in house, but I kept catching her grabbing studying material. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, they told us in the academy, we got to always be cleaning, always be busy." She was switching people's laundry out. And finally at dinner time, nobody had been able to cook, so we ordered out pizza. She sat down with a book to study. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, I'm studying." I said, "I want you to look back at the day you've had so far, and I want you to go scroll TikTok or whatever it is you do to relax for five minutes." And she said, "Well, in the academy." I said, "Forget what the academy told you." And and then the poor girl, we sleep deprived her for the rest of the night. So this is her first 24 hours off after her first day being like that in the fire service. And that long-winded story is what we're doing with Firefighter Nation, is we're ensuring that this new generation of firefighters coming in is prepared before they even have a day like that. We're taking it the side of firefighting that isn't tactical, that isn't technical, and we're talking about days like that. We're talking about how you can build the resiliency to be able to get off duty and be able to function and be able to process those calls. I got off duty and I came home and I had a ton of stuff to do, but I knew you have to go take a nap. You've had no sleep, you had a physically taxing day, take a nap. And it took me years to learn that. So we're taking all the lessons I had to learn to get to that point, and we're we're finding people who want to write about their experiences. It's not necessarily when you have people writing about techniques and fire science and stuff like that. It's really tenured people, right, who have a lot of experience and technical degrees. This publication isn't going to be that. We are going to have experts, obviously talking about the science and medical side of things, but it's going to be people like us talking about life experiences in the fire service and just how to be mentally better at it. The leadership that our officer displayed yesterday, just in handling some of the situations we found ourselves into, we're going to be talking about stuff like that. Just the leadership, the health, the mental health, um, conflict resolution, all these little things that add up to just having a really great, healthy fire service career. That's what we're going to be doing on Firefighter Nation.
And not just the healthy career, but setting yourself up for a healthy retirement. Is that fair?
That's fair. Excuse me. And we do actually have retirement guys jumping on there and writing for us and talking about changes after retirement, what they didn't anticipate mentally, physically, and how to prepare for it as well. Because so many of us, we don't think about retirement and suddenly it's staring us in the face in the next couple of years. And we're like, am I financially ready? Am I all these different things? So it really is going to encompass truly the beginning to the end of the career and a little bit beyond.
So you would say like this would be more or less like what rookie school doesn't teach you, right? Would be more along those lines of the down and dirty what being a firefighter or first responder is going to be like in the less ideal uh, classroom setting, right?
Correct. It was funny how many times our rookie yesterday said, "Well, what would you like me to do? This is what they told me to do in recruit school." And I absolutely understand. I remember recruit school and how that went. The making sure that our probies are doing what they need to be doing and staying busy and proving through the micro things what their work ethic is. But it'd be so great at the end of recruit school, they gathered them all into a room and said, "Hey, listen, some days it's okay to put that stuff out the window." And it was funny this morning. I actually ran a DOA with the oncoming shift. I hadn't been relieved yet, and I was listening to the very eager, very energetic Proby on that shift talking about how he had spent his off day the day before, getting all these alerts from first due and all that. And I thought, oh no, someone's got to tell this poor kid, you're off duty, be off duty. So that way, when you have a day like we had just had, you can recover. So it's stuff like that, just the little nuggets that we don't think about until after they've happened, that we don't prepare people for. Just the common sense that slips past all of us.
Well, that seems to be, a pretty not necessarily a common thing these days. I mean, there's still a lot of recruit classes that, it's everything about tactics and things like that. But I think there is starting to gain some steam and trying to prepare people mentally for what they're going to encounter on the job, right?
Right? You gotta we gotta ensure that people can function at the end of the day. And I think the funny thing is, generationally as a society, we've gone a little bit too far with some of the mental talks. And I understand then that some people in the fire service like, oh, everything's mental health, this and that. And I think so far in the lineup that we've created, we're doing a great job of saying, no, we're not creating the kinder, softer, or gentler. We're creating the mental part of the tactical athlete, right? I mean, you don't think the SEAL team guys run out the door not having had any kind of mental resiliency talk? No. Any elite athlete, Olympic athletes, we see how that's gone for some of them. You have to be having these conversations in order to be a great tactical athlete and firefighter. You can't pretend that there's not a health component to it all.
So I'm pretty stoked about this opportunity for, Nick and I that have been in the health and wellness uh, section for a while, that we have now this outlet on, this web page where we can write articles, where we can do this show, but it goes beyond that as well. So I know you've kind of mentioned to me off the air some of the stuff that you have lined up for FDIC next year, and how Firefighter Nation is going to have a kind of a different part in that whole establishment. Would you mind kind of sharing with everybody, like, kind of what the plan is moving forward? Because this is really big stuff for us.
Oh, absolutely. So if you look at FDIC, fire apparatus, so the fire engineering family is GEMS, fire apparatus, fire engineering, and now Firefighter Nation. GEMS has their area, showroom floor is a lot of fire apparatuses domain, and then the classes are really fire engineering's domain. So what we're doing is we're taking the Lucas Oil Stadium, where GEMS is, and we're just doing a whole health section. And we'll be having, I think anytime you're talking about health, mental health, any of the, for lack of better words, it's a less sexy subject, right? I want to be listening to the guys from FDNY teaching me tactics versus hearing about my brain. So we're doing little mini TED Talks, essentially, little science moments where we're talking about the different components of health and wellness right there in the stadium. So that's going to be a lot of fun because we're not going to make it a boring or overwhelming experience. But if there's something that catches your eye that you've been wondering about, you can run on down there, listen to something for 10 to 30 minutes, and then talk to the speaker or author afterwards.
Perfect. So if I
Yeah.
mean, if you're a department member and if your role is health and wellness, like, not only is this website going to be a go-to for you, but when you do show up in Indy next April, like, go over to where the Colts play. And I mean, that's going to be where all the health and safety stuff is. Crackle is going to be there. Is that right?
I love how you sold the sports in there, but yes, yeah, Cracker will
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah. Future homes of what, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, all that stuff. It's all going to be there at Lucas Oil, along with
To be
Stephanie.
clear, yeah, we won't have SummerSlam with us at Lucas Oil, but yes.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
If you want to show up in the WrestleMania leotard, I can't tell you no, Jen. That's my bossing capabilities only go so far.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to pay, give me a cut and pay, aren't you?
If I can attach a sign to the back of you to bring more brand awareness, then we'll figure it out.
Walk,
We'll
Jim
make you a
Bernica, walking
Firefighter
billboard.
Nation leotard. If that's truly what you want. But there's going to be no ropes for you to jump off of if that's what you're looking for.
Well, never mind then. Yeah.
So kind of what Jim said before. So kind of, can you take us I guess, the journey from where Firefighter Nation was, let's say last year, to where it's going to be this year? What would you say the major, obviously, contracting differences are, and how that all played out,
So
I guess.
I'm actually going to take it back 20 years. Do you guys remember the Watch Desk forum? Do you guys have those? Do you guys have that out in Ohio?
No.
So there was a time when just these forums were super popular. It was the time of the chat room, right? The early
Like the
2000s.
AOL, like
Yeah, almost. So there were these fire service
age,
forums
sex,
where
location.
not quite like that,
Is
but
that-
it was a fire service chat room essentially when I joined the fire service, and it was just kind of like a fire gossip site. It wasn't anything big. And then I think it had fire service news, and the company that owned fire engineering at the time purchased them. And then the site kind of sat dormant. They used it for news and all that. So over the past couple years, it's had an article or two on it as they've kind of trying to decide what to do with it over the past decade. But it's really just been news. It's almost been the Twitter of fire engineering. And then a year or so ago, I think the folks at fire engineering just really sat down and realized, we're covering this side of firefighting, but if I'm a brand new officer, where am I going to go read about leadership and conflict resolution? And that's where Firefighter Nation was reborn. The new site schematics are up. It's got a new look. We soft launched it 2 weeks ago. And then all the new content and podcasts and all of that are starting on October 1st. So it's been the 2-minute spiel journey of Firefighter Nation and how it went from gossip to how do I break up a fight at the kitchen table without all of us going to HR.
Well, and that's one of those things, like I remember when I first got promoted, it's the department I was on, they handed you a red helmet and said, okay, you sit here now. And that was about the
See
extent of
ya.
about the extent of my training. So it's good to see that, they're investing in, because like as an officer, even as a leader of a department, it's not necessarily the calls that cause the most headaches. It's more or less the people side and dealing with the folks that is the hardest part for people to grasp, I think. And there's never not necessarily been a direct outlet for those type of um, articles and podcasts and things like that. So it'd be nice to have some representation, more involved representation in that way.
Well, I think a new topic that's really coming around is culture as well. I don't ever remember seeing this many people in the beginning or even middle of my career leaving departments in such a large amount and either just leaving the fire service completely or leaving to go to another department. And I think I've said this a million times, I'll say it again. Over the past 10 years, we've seen fire departments turn into organizations, and that's created a loss of culture. And in some cases, the culture that is there is a toxic culture. And so that's something that I think a lot of people are really eager to write about their experiences or to write about how they fixed it in their own department. And I think that's a growing conversation as well that you're going to be able to find there and see how other people have weathered that storm.
Well, I think we're kind of in an interesting space in the fire service as far as like, because same thing here in Ohio, we've had a lot of people, jump ship from one department to the next, because there's those opportunities. I know, like when I first started in the fire service, like there was highly contested, competition for part-time work, not just full-time work. You had to really be on your game to get a full-time job. And nowadays it's, they're almost hiring
Can't get
full-time
anybody.
people. Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, you got a pulse of the card, hop on the truck. We need you. So it's kind of an interesting space, and that allows for, I guess, competition between the fire departments, like not only pay but benefits and culture and training and all that stuff. I think goes into people's minds when they make those decisions about where they're going to work, or if they are going to jump ship and go to another department. Because I've seen quite a few guys here locally that flipped to other departments, not because of pay alone, but because of culture or training or the way that they do something just a little bit different in another town over. Sometimes those departments are busier, sometimes they're slower, but yeah, it's kind of an interesting world we're in right now when it comes to the fire service and recruiting and retention and all that kind of jazz.
So I've been in the fire service since 2003, and I think this is the most dynamic time I've ever seen in 21 years. Just with the hiring, the retention, but also you're seeing this sudden hunger in the younger generation to return to just truly aggressive tactics. Because we had this huge safety and over safety swing for a while, right? We were doing some dumb stuff like busting out every window. Okay, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. But then the search aversion culture and other things, hitting it hard from the yard. We just had such a switch of things that I think this new generation is completely rebelling against. And the cool thing is well, they now have studies on their side that we didn't have. They now have science. They now have all these things that we didn't have when we were dragged into that over safety culture net. So I think you're seeing that, which is going to be huge. And I think you're seeing people saying, I'm not going to work for a department that treats me like a commodity, right? We've seen too many people get injured on the job and not get the help that they are due, whether it be physical or mental injury. So I think people are no longer putting up with that. It's a truly rebellious time in the fire service, and I absolutely love it because it's not a bratty rebellion. It's a these changes are long overdue, and you're seeing just a generation of people who have the energy to lead it. I think something that's going to be really neat about this site is I think it's going to help them build that ladder because we're going to have people on there talking about this is how I created change in my fire department. Um, so that way, somebody who is firefighter technician, engineer, young officer can say, "Oh, you know what? That's manageable. That's manageable." And that's the first step they took. Okay, I can do that. And we're really having firefighters show that framework to other firefighters so they can keep that revolution going. Jim's been a little quiet, and I'm very worried as to what's going on the other screen.
Try not to just run the whole show like I'm used to. Trying to give everybody opportunity to talk, unlike, what I usually do.
Just a little worrisome.
I'm trying. We'll see how it works.
You're doing good so far. I had to
Yeah.
ask where you were, so
Yeah. So no, all right. Now you're gonna make me talk shit. No, it's a for once I feel like the power is in the firefighter. And if you're being
hmm
treated bad, you have options. And options that weren't there throughout my career all of a sudden are there. Like if you're not getting treated well, go somewhere else until you're finally valued and appreciated. And then for those people that are having retention and recruitment problems, well, maybe you should take better care of your guys and gals.
Yeah, it's one of those times where you got to look yourself in the mirror, right? Like, why are we losing all these people? What's causing this attrition? You know, I know like some departments will never change, right? I mean, I before I was in the fire service, I was a dispatcher, and that's one of those ones that like it's a funny job in the way that people think, oh, it's just talking on the phone and talking on the radio. Like I could do that, and then you go there, and then halfway through your day, you're on the floor crying because it's not exactly what you thought it was, cracked up to be. And the dispatch center I worked in, we had terrible amount of turnover. It wouldn't be uncommon to walk in the next morning and have somebody's uniform and keys taped to the door saying, I'm good, I don't need to work here anymore. And I mean, and hopefully that place has gotten better. Those types of places gotten better, but I mean, they experienced the same thing, right? Where people were leaving and going to smaller departments, making more money, doing less work. It's kind of catching up to the fire service as well, right?
yeah, I'm super lazy, and once I've gone through an academy, I don't want to go through another one. So I think it's really great to see people stepping up because if you write an article, it's going to come through me. So I get to read all kinds of really great stuff, and I think it's really awesome to see people writing these pieces or creating content on here's how to kick and scream for change because something we all see is listen at our kitchen table we all bitch and moan about every little thing under the sun, right? That's just fire service kitchen table culture. But rarely do we see people stepping up and saying no, I'm going to kick this problem in the face. And so I think it's really great to see some of the eh, is the department always in the right kind of articles of, no, if you're seeing these things aren't good, and go change them. And just a lot of call to actions. And I'm here for it. I'm sure that phrase is really outdated now. I'm sure my kids would tell me that, and there's skibbity, or I should be inserting a state name there or something. But
You got real
until,
whiz.
yeah, I can't tell you how many times a day I hear about Ohio and toilet and dog water, but yeah.
We eat cats and dogs. That's what we're going to have at our conference, October 16th or 18th.
right.
ExoticBeaverCreek.com.
As long as there's some spicy barbecue sauce, we're good.
I'm a ranch guy, but whatever.
So I guess where does so we know what's going on with Firefighter Nation now. Is there any bigger plans as it moves forward, or is it kind of just adjusting as we move along?
I think both. I think adjusting as we move along. I think you're going to see a lot more short form in this. I think we're also used to watching TV while scrolling, or we're really used to the format of reels. Mentally, we've shortened our attention span. That's not just a generation thing, that's all of us. So the articles are going to be a 5-minute read. There's going to be shorter pieces of content on there. I really wanted it to be something where you can hop on and give it your full attention without your mind starting to do the social media induced ADHD wandering. So we're starting with that, and then we're going to see where we are in 6 months. If we're going to start doing longer content, where it really goes from there. But I think I think we're a little bit headed away from that, just media wise, just because I can't sit down and read anything long any longer without truly mentally saying, all right, I'm not going to move from this spot for an hour or half an hour or something. All our brains are shot. Instagram's destroyed all of us.
It all started with those vines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the
No,
day.
way back in time. Yeah.
It was MySpace.
Someone recently said, we were talking about the color scheme on the site, and they asked if we could change something, and I said, that's going to be a big lift. And I said, don't tell me that. I had MySpace. I could go change everything about it in 20 minutes.
It's true. My profile was amazing.
I had theme music.
Yeah, I think I deleted it because there was way too much incriminating photos and stuff of me just back when I was allowed to have fun and do dumb shit.
Listen, I would love if we got theme music when you log on to Firefighter Nation.
Everybody's gonna be getting on MySpace now, like just to find Jim Bernica's profile.
Can you still get on there?
Blackmail. Maybe, I don't know.
I think they still have it.
I don't
I think it was
so.
like a music thing though now. Like that's where you go to
Didn't
look at
Justin
bands and stuff.
Timberlake buy it or something?
That could be. I know Tom made out like crazy. Like he got out at the
Sailing
right
into the
time.
sunset. Yeah,
Good
he
for
sold
Tom.
it big, and
everybody. I like Tom. Screw the Zuckerberg guy.
He was everybody's first friend, right?
Yeah.
What's today? Today's the 27th. I'm gonna see if for the next 4 days I can get them to play the final countdown by Europe as a little MySpace ode on Firefighter Nation.
I like it.
Get our own Riz.
I told you before. My friend saw the Europe in concert, and they opened and closed with that song.
How can you not? I don't think Europe actually has any other songs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that was the question I asked. I was like, "Well, did they actually play anything in between?" And he said, "Yes, but it wasn't very good."
Yes, they played a remix of the final countdown.
Well, we could play that music here too as well. So let's get out of here on this.
If you haven't picked a theme song for the show yet.
Oh, I've got my fancy old 25 Live one that we're going to use. Okay. We're going to rehash that.
Repurpose it.
Yeah.
Reimagine.
Yes. So, last question, Steph. If anybody out there was interested in partaking in this Firefighter Nation stuff that we're trying to sell them, how are they getting a hold of you? How are they actually getting involved?
So we actually have a submissions link on the firefighterNation.com website. You can go there and you can submit, and it's a way easier, comes directly to me. Way easier way of doing it, and it allows you to smoothly load everything in that you would need, bio, article, pictures, everything, so that we're not having to chase you down little by little, and it's a more smooth, streamlined process.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking for content-wise?
If it's something that you struggled with or something you've observed in the fire service, you want to write about it, write about it. There are so many things that go untalked about. I'm not just talking about mental health, culture. The fact that if you and I argue, I mean, it might get shipped up the chain to HR is absolutely insane and ridiculous. The fact that so much power has been taken away from officers to mitigate issues on their own crews, stuff like that. That's a component of health and mental health. That's the kind of stuff that drives people crazy and makes you want to quit early, right?
Yeah,
There's so much culturally out there that if it's bothering you, if you solved it a certain way around your kitchen table, your fire department, I don't want to just hear about problems. None of us want to just hear about problems, right? We want to hear the solutions too. So if you've got a problem that you're looking for an answer, or if you found a solution that worked for you guys, that's the kind of stuff we want to hear.
that's awesome. Nick, you got any Jerry Springer final thoughts?
No, I think it's good that, we're going to have an outlet now that, talks more, about the issues that may not have the limelight on them, right? I mean, searching and tactics and things like that. There's a lot of content for that, but talking about organizational betrayal and injury, moral injury and culture and leadership and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't necessarily get talked too terribly much about. So it's good that they're given a spotlight to that. So and obviously with fire engineering being the biggest dog in town, right? It's good that they've recognized that this is a needed space.
That was a pretty good final thought.
It was a
Thank
really
you.
great final thought. That's why Nick's here.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
Take care, my friends. Be good to each other.
yeah.
Jim and I would have just
Wu-Tang
had an
forever.
awkward, like, yeah, so we're done.
I'm not going to top that. It's good. No.
Well, really looking forward to see what you two come up with. I approached you, Jim, about doing this show because you guys do an absolutely amazing job. I was about to curse there. That's why I got real slow. Um, you guys do a phenomenal job of having your own little rebellious corner of the health and wellness world with the conference that you guys do up in Ohio every year. And you guys know the mindset, and I absolutely love that. So, welcome on board.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, thank you for having us. And the irony is not lost on the fact that we're two fat, overweight, well, fat and overweight's the same thing, retired,
Bearded.
bearded,
I'm
ugly
working on
dudes.
my beard.
Yeah.
November's coming up, right?
Yeah, it is. So, but yeah, we have this lovely health and wellness conference that has been going great, and now we got this show as well. So, um, we just love having the ability to kind of get our message and share this stuff out, and we do love this opportunity, and we're going to make the most of it
I'm
if we don't
excited to
get
see it.
canceled.
Just gonna put all your episodes through the word editor before I listen to it.
I'm pretty good about not cussing on these.
You are. It's
Yeah.
me that struggles.
Yeah. And
Hey,
Nick's a
all
Boy
the
Scout.
all the great ones do, right? I mean, Sarah couldn't stop from cussing. You know, it's just all the great ones just can't help themselves, right?
Reasons why we love Sarah.
Exactly.
She's okay. All right. Well, let's get you out of here. Um, let's see. He's Nick.
Yep. He's Jim.
I'm Jim. She's she's Steph. In case you were mixed up at all. And we are out of time. So we'll see you again next month. Maybe, hopefully. On episode 2 of We Can't Believe They Gave Us a Show with Nick and Jim. Thanks, Steph.
See you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.